Coming up on today's show, the Kia EV6 becomes the quickest charging EV to cross the North American continent, the LA Auto Show goes all in on EVs with plenty to see, and President Biden gets behind the wheel of a Hummer EV for political purposes. These stories and more coming next. This is Ecotricity's ecoTEC roundup show from New Zealand's only carboNZero certified renewable electricity company. We only source from wind, hydro and solar, and we are the leading supplier of electricity to electric vehicles in New Zealand. Switch today at ecotricity.co.nz. Welcome back to another roundup in the world of clean cars and green energy. It's been a busy week, so let's get on with it. Travelling from New York City to Los Angeles in as little time as possible, aka the Cannonball Run, has been a thing that many a petrolhead has yearned to do in their lifetime. In recent years, EV fans have got in on the challenge too, vying for supremacy both on overall journey time and overall time spent charging. For as long as I can remember, Teslas have pretty much dominated both. But now there's a new champ, the Kia EV6. It just made the 2,880-mile, 4,600-kilometre trip, setting a new record for time spent charging in the process. While Kia hasn't made the overall trip time known, because I suspect that would attract undue attention, it spent a total of just 7 hours and 10 minutes, 1 second charging en route, slashing Tesla's previous charging record for the trip by 5.5 hours. It's all down to the EV6's 800-volt next-generation architecture. This year, we've seen automaker after automaker plagued by supply chain issues for everything from raw materials to microchips, and as someone who's watched the build date for their partner's new car slip back multiple times, I feel the pain of anyone waiting for a new EV. This week, Volkswagen became the latest automaker to feel the brunt of the problem, finding itself with no alternative but to halt all electric vehicle production at its Zwickau and Dresden plants. The halt is expected to last just a week, but it will impact production of the Volkswagen ID3, ID4, the Audi Q4 e-tron and the Cupra Born, all of which share the same production lines and platform. While Volkswagen has halted other plants before this point, this is the first time it's been forced to completely halt its EV production lines due to the current chip crisis. At this week's LA Auto Show, Nissan finally unveiled the North American production version of its upcoming Ariya electric SUV, opening the order books to the same. It will be offered in North America with a choice of 4 different variants, ranging in price from $45,950 all the way up to $58,950. Those prices are before incentives or mandatory shipping and handling fees. All models will get an 87 kilowatt-hour battery pack, with the entry-level front-wheel drive model offering up to 300 miles, 482 kilometers on a charge. Curiously, if you want the best range, that's the model to go for, because the more expensive and more powerful variants lose range, and the all-wheel drive performance model only manages 265 miles, 426 kilometers of range per charge. Sticking with the LA Auto Show, Hyundai was in attendance with its previously teased 7 SUEV, that's Sports Utility Electric Vehicle. Aside from giving us another acronym to learn, Hyundai says that this concept vehicle teases the upcoming Ioniq 7 SUV. But before you get too excited, I feel obliged to tell you that while the 7 may give us a good idea of what the exterior dimensions of the Ioniq 7 will be, the interior is most certainly a full-blown concept car. From the pillarless coach doors to an interior that features a curved bench seat and what Hyundai is trying to market as a living room on wheels, this autonomous concept is unlikely to enter production as it currently stands. Conceivable future or flight of fancy? Let us know below. Just across the way, Hyundai's assimilated sister company Kia unveiled the Kia EV9, which is why I'm now able to make the bad Star Trek joke. Get it? 7 of 9? Based on the same eGMP platform as the Hyundai 7, the EV9 is a far more believable concept car. Granted, it shares the pillarless coach doors with the Hyundai 7, but there's a more conventional looking interior with a massive dashboard that extends into the centre of the car, LED headlights and seating for 7. The front seats can be swiveled around to provide a lounge-like interior while the car is operating in autonomous mode. Yes, that is the buzzword for LA this year, and with a few few tweaks, I could see this actually becoming a production vehicle, without the spinny seats. Oh, and the steering wheel? It's a yoke. Yeah. Nearly 2 years after it made its debut at CES 2020, Fisker has officially revealed its Ocean SUV. Again. But this time, with a manufacturing partner and battery deal signed, it's actually ready to share specs and prices. When it starts production, supposedly imminently, the Ocean will come in 3 variants, with the most affordable front-wheel drive offering 250 miles, 402 kilometers of range, and a 6.9-second sprint time, while the highest spec all-wheel drive variant will go in excess of 350 miles, 563 kilometers, and have a 3.6-second sprint time. Following Tesla's lead, the entry-level model, called the Ocean Sport, will feature an LFP battery pack with NMC batteries in the Ocean Ultra and Ocean Extreme. The Ocean Sport will start from $37,499, while the Ocean Extreme will cost just shy of 69 grand. The Porsche Taycan and Porsche Taycan Cross Turismo, while incredibly expensive and out of the price range of most normal people, are without doubt 2 of the most enjoyable electric cars to drive, on or off track, as I learned firsthand a few years ago. Now Porsche has revealed 2 new Taycan models as debuted at the LA Auto Show, the Porsche Taycan GTS and the Porsche Taycan GTS Sport Turismo. With sportier interiors that are less luxurious and more track-inspired than the regular Taycans, the 2 cars produce more power than the Porsche Taycan 4S, but less than the Taycan Turbo. That said, they do get the full works when it comes to suspension and braking, using the same components found in the Taycan Turbo S, all tweaked for all-day track fun. As to the Taycan GTS Sport Turismo, it's essentially a lowered Cross Turismo that's slammed as close to the road as possible. But if you want one, you'll have a little change from 134 grand US in their base configurations. Also at the LA Auto Show, yes, there is a theme this week, Toyota and Subaru each revealed their first long-range electric cars for the global marketplace. As you might remember from previous shows, the Toyota BZ4X and Subaru Solterra are essentially the same car wearing different makeup, and both feature the same underpinnings, including 2-way charging to allow both vehicles to operate as an emergency power bank when required. Powered by a 71 and change kilowatt-hour pack, Toyota will offer a front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive version, while Subaru will, of course, only offer all-wheel drive. Frankly, I prefer the all-wheel drive Scooby in its looks, but reading through both press releases, I'm struck by how little either company seems to know about electric vehicles. It's like being back in 2011 all over again. Israeli firm Storedot, which has been promising us a future of ultra-fast battery charging for EVs, has been busy in the last few weeks. Earlier this month, it became the first company to provide silicon-dominant extreme fast-charging battery cells for EVs on its mass production line. It's shipped its A-sample cells to automakers around the world already for testing. And this week, the company announced a new partnership with Group 14 Technologies, a company that specializes in active materials for silicon-carbon anodes, to accelerate its time to market of Storedot's XFC, Extreme Fast Charging cells. We've been following Storedot for some time now, and it's good to see it progress from the lab to the production line, as that's frankly the hardest part of the battery cell process for most companies. This week, US President Joe Biden signed the long-awaited infrastructure bill into law, while the US House and Senate carried on debating and refining the bill's sibling, the Build Back Better Act. It's that latter act which will include incentives for those buying an EV, but to celebrate the signing of the first, and to celebrate the official opening of General Motors Factory Zero, where the Hummer EV will be made, President Biden headed to Michigan to tour the facility. Aside from all of the usual things that a president is expected to do, like giving a speech, President Biden managed to get some time behind the wheel of the Hummer EV, and by the way, its suspension shifted under load. He didn't spare the horses. As with his previous experiences with the Ford F-150 Lightning and electrified Jeep, his grin suggests he had a lot of fun. A couple of weeks ago, we told you about Vietnamese company VinFast and its plan to bring its range of scooters and cars to North America and Europe. This week at the LA Auto Show, it took its first steps to making that a reality in the US, unveiling its brand new US headquarters in Playa Vista, LA, at the same time as debuting its VF E35 and VF E36 electric cars. Both cars have a full suite of Level 2 driver assistance features, fully autonomous parking and driver monitoring, and much more. Last year, the company sold 30,000 vehicles in its home market of Vietnam, and it says it hopes to sell more than 45,000 vehicles by the end of this year. It says pre-orders will begin in the first half of next year for North America, with deliveries by the end of the year. As usual, we're eager to get some time behind the wheel, so if you're watching VinFast, let's talk. And finally, the world of electric motorcycles has been changing at an astonishing pace, and we've been eagerly watching as new models come to the market at increasingly low prices. One company that's rushing to bring its models to the market is Indian-based UltraViolette Automotive, whose FF77 electric motorcycle has all the right looks to sell well. This week we got access to some unedited B-roll of the same undergoing testing, not just on the road, but also off-road. The bike features a sprint time of under 3 seconds, a top speed of 140 kilometers per hour, 87 miles per hour, with a similar range, and it features fully connected OTA functionality. It's rare for a company to show its vehicles out of their comfort zones, but seeing the FF77 handle rutted, mud-filled tracks and smooth blacktop does make us want to spend more time getting to know it. And on that note, we're done for the day. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next episode. And if you haven't already switched, why not switch to New Zealand's only carboNZero certified renewable electricity company? It is super easy to make the switch, and you'll be helping New Zealand wean itself off dirty energy and onto clean, green power that will keep the land beautiful for generations to come. It's US Thanksgiving next week, so I'll be taking a week off. But until next time, I'm Nikki Gordon-Bloomfield. Ka kite! Stay safe.